Ladies and gentlemen, order in the court. Today's proceedings finds the people versus James McGill.
Legal troubles got you down, bosses refusing the payout, hit and run leave you stunned, drug lords in your future. Maybe not, because he'll get your case dismissed. He'll get you the defense you deserve, but only if you say the words.
Oh no, I need legal representation. Whatever shall I do? What do I say? Oh wait, I know.
Better
Better
Call
Call
Saul.
Saul. So without further ado, let's begin judging Saul. Court is now in session.
You will atone.
All right, Dragon, diving right into it. We're in the middle of Better Call Saul. We're getting right towards the end, man. Only 3 episodes left. I'm so sad.
So sad.
So sad.
Of course, we hit kind of Tiki and I would get really excited when we're watching a season of Better Call Saul, specifically when we hit 2 episodes in particular, episode 7 and episode 9. And folks, we reached episode 7.
Yep, season 4, episode 7, titled Something Stupid.
It's very interesting considering early this season we had something beautiful, and now we have something stupid, complimentary.
So, Dragon, here's the deal. I feel like episode 7 is always like the really fun, really outlandish episode. And of course, I feel like my favorite episode 7 is still Inflatable. And I got to admit, this season has been on such a high caliber and on such a roll that every single episode has been great, all right? Every single episode has been great. Every single episode has been a jewel. This episode to me is kind of like the jewel that doesn't shine quite as bright as the other jewels, but is still a jewel.
Look, I gotta respectfully disagree with that. I think this one shines really bright. I mean, I really like this one.
I mean, I don't know. To me, there's just like, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. And of course, it's like you and I are very respectful about all this because we respect the heck out of the show as a whole. And it's just all very subjective. But to me, it was a slow burn. I guess I'll say that much. The episode was a bit of a slow burn, even though it did advance the plot a ton, with the time jump. So we'll get into all that. So without any more delay, do you want to get into the credits of the episode? Then we'll just jump right into it.
Yes, so we had two newbies with some great credits behind some other projects that they've done. So our director was Deborah Chow. Deborah Chow, she had worked on an episode of Mr. Robot in the first season. One of your favorites, Tiki, if I'm not mistaken. It's the one with Vera, the guy in the prison.
When I see you, I'm gonna hug you.
That guy. So yes, she did that episode, and the writer of the episode was Allison Tadlock. Now, Allison Tadlock, I believe she may have been on the show in the producing capacity, but in regard to her other works, she had written an episode of Stranger Things. She wrote in the first season of Stranger Things, she wrote the Flea and the Acrobat episode, basically the one that explains the whole upside down of it all. So that's the one she wrote. Mr. Robot, Stranger Things. It's not bad, kind of bona fide on our kind of our crew behind this episode. All right, that said, let's just dive right into it.
Okay, so Dragon, I think with episode 7, the one thing you really expect from episode 7 is a kick-ass montage, and my god, we get that. If anything else, we get that.
This is why I can't agree with the slow burn thing, because they had you at the beginning. I mean, come on, like this intro was fantastic. It's kind of Better Call Saul's version of Married Life. It's the closest thing to Married Life they can get away with, and they did, and it's great.
Again, watch Searching Cyber Married Life, Dragon. Cyber Married Life.
All right, I'll take your word on that. But seriously, I mean, again, this is oh boy. So again, the episode is called Something Stupid.
Here's the difference, though, Dragon. Like with Married Life, we see a happy marriage. And I guess with this, it's like it maybe hits a little too close to home almost. Like, it's wonderful. It's great. It's just, it's not exactly the most fun thing to watch.
Well, here's the thing. They've said from the get-go, it's really fascinating because they've always said in like the inside, well, not the Insider podcast, but like the inside of the episodes, and specifically, I guess the commentaries. They've always kind of talked about how Wexler McGill as a concept was the closest thing that Jimmy can do in showing that he loves and cares about Kim. It's basically it's the legal equivalent of getting married. Like he wanted Wexler and McGill, and she settled for Wexler McGill. It's like they're together, but they're separated by essentially a line or a hyphen, which, as you can see in the image before you, is what they have. And again, like Wexler McGill is the closest thing Jimmy's had to ever having a marriage proposal and like taking that next step with Kim. So what we do here, again, with the married life comparison, is that it's absolutely like this is like kind of a divorce. It's kind of the divorce after the big kind of relationship bomb dropping in the previous episode that we were talking about, where the whole
but it's like a live-in divorce. And you know what, Dragon? I think it is something I speculated on a little bit. I
know, and I think you absolutely got your wish in this opening.
Yeah. Well, Dragon, I told you it was going to be very depressing, though, and I guess I got my wish with the depressing part too.
It was so well executed. So again, as I was mentioning, so Something Stupid, of course, it's so clever that I didn't know there was a song called Something Stupid, and it's the fact that they named the episode after it, because we were speculating all throughout this season that Something Stupid was going to be something that would complement Something Beautiful, and I think thematically it does, and we'll get into reasons why as we get.
Well, I think the big reason, Dragon, the overarching reason, is that both of the episodes, like in Something Beautiful, everyone's story arc kind of represents something beautiful in some way, shape, or form.
Yes.
And in this episode, the exact same thing can be said about Something Stupid.
Yes, and I love
Everyone
that about
does something stupid in this episode.
And finding a song called Something Stupid is like the perfect cherry on top, kind of the Lola Marsh.
Sinatra and his daughter doing a love duet.
Well, technically, this is fascinating, Tiki. I don't know if you've watched the Insider podcast yet, but little fun fact. So there are like 3 versions of this song. There are a few versions of this song. Frank Sinatra's the most popular version, but Lola Marsh did this version. Lola Marsh is like one of the hardest versions to clear, by the way. It's like it's kind of difficult to find, is what I'm saying. But the song itself is really expensive and hard to clear, period. Because again, the Sinatra of it all. It's really hard to get like honest to goodness Sinatra. So I think they found a happy medium with Lola Marsh, and they still had to pay the nose for it, but they had to they found the version that was right for them. So that's kind of interesting. So it's a brilliant music choice. The split screen, again, it visually shows the riff, but as you can see before you, as the folks can see before them right here, again, they are absolutely in each other's lives, and like this is like a little delightful bit where they have like that little bit of crossover. Let's break it down here. So the way we start this montage with this optical mirror shot, which looks great, with both of them in they're in the bathroom together, as we've seen various times, like brushing their teeth together, like 2 of them looking at a mirror, but we have like an angle, and the angle shows like this split screen of like two angles of them at a mirror together initially. And basically, again, kind of like a divorcee version of Married Life. We see, Kim on one side of the screen. She's starting at Schweikert and Coakley, while Jimmy, on the other hand, is with his phones. Is with his phones in the office. He was with his phones. Selling the phones. They reuse the shot of like him tossing the ball, Gray Escape style, they didn't use in the previous episode. Then we see like her setting up her office and the Saul Goodman cards, and we have this beautiful image. Tiki, if you wouldn't mind going to it real quick here. We have this beautiful image. I think summarizes kind of the paths that they're taking here. I always love this image of her office. Kimberly Wexler, kind of the best, kind of most highfalutin, lawyer can achieve, like having your name on a door in a building, in a prestigious building. And Jimmy's equivalent to that, what's kind of cementing his destiny right now, are the Saul Goodman cards. And one, I love this. It's really close to Saul Goodman's, Better Call Saul. It's like we're getting there. We're getting so close to Need to Call.
Yeah, we can taste it, Dragon. We can taste it at this point.
I just thought that was so clever. It's like something that's so obvious, but we didn't think of it. He's selling phones. It just makes so much sense to use that. But yeah, like he has these business
like the
cards.
Mobile meth lab, Dragon.
Yeah. And you see, I just love that. We see, again, we're cementing Saul's path where he's a lawyer with business cards, where Kim doesn't need a business card. She's on the partner track, essentially. So Kim, let's see. So again, like visually, Kim is living Jimmy's dream, and we're going to see that really in a heartbreaking sequence later in the episode. We kind of have it teed up here, where Jimmy wants like a Wexler McGill like partner kind of lifestyle with Kim, but Kim's doing that without Jimmy right now. And again, Jimmy's just kind of left with the illegitimate path right now with phones and Huell. Of course, I love how we reveal Huell in the fray. Huell's going to be a big part of this episode.
Yeah, Huell's just literally hiding behind a stack of phones, and he's like the muscle helping Jimmy like bring the phones back and forth, as we saw in the previous episode.
Yeah. And meanwhile, we keep going through the montage. Kim is with. We have these great little. The best way of describing them, they're like these trophies. They're like these Mesa Verde branch trophies. Where basically, whenever a Mesa Verde branch opens, they send her like a little token saying, "Hey, the new branch opened up thanks to you."
Mm-hmm.
He has like a whole bunch of these kind of progressively as the months are passing, as time is passing, keep kind of piling up in her office. And while this is happening, again, this builds to my favorite moment in the whole thing. My big married life moment in the whole thing is that we see the PD paperwork. So Jimmy's basically visiting his PPD agreement, basically filling out like he's still. We saw the scene unfold where he tells him like, "I'm going to start Wexler McGill." Yeah, that whole thing. Where he's. We set up for this great reveal of like time passing essentially. Where then we see the image that we had before with like they're at dinner and they have a gag with the wine where like they're breaking the rules of the split screen and showing that they are absolutely in each other's lives as a couple. And then we have this adorable thing it's so married life with her leg kind of crossing over in the Jimmy's space at night, which is adorable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it calls back to this adorable bit that we had all the way back in season 2 where. Under the desk, we see Kim is like playing footsies with Jimmy under the desk. It's adorable. And I like how we kind of brought that back here. So, yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, you're kind of going a million miles an hour for me, man. Kind of, anyways, so we get, we see, very subtle hints that things are going awry. Like, did you notice Kim kind of like going out of the bathroom, like immediately as Jimmy enters?
Yes, and importantly, they're separated in the bathroom now. Like they're like before it was the two of them in each other's like in each split screen. Now it's just like one's on one side of the split screen, one's on the other side. In the bathroom, they're getting more and more distant from each other, and then we have more separate things about their days, like the juicer and the cast being buzzsawed off. I love these visual earmarkers and these visual kind of cues that we have. Where, like the juicer's been a fixture of this season for a long. The juicer just keeps coming back, and again, the cast finally comes off. So, okay, time has passed. Like a few weeks at least have, like roughly 6 weeks, I guess, have passed. So, like the cast has come off at this point.
So we see Kim going over a lot of plans with Schweikert and Copley, and mixed with Jimmy selling a phone via Huell. I love how Huell just tosses the phone back and forth like they have this whole rhythm worked out.
And I love these little details, like Independence Day sale, just showing that again the months are going by. And we have Kim, like basically a montage on one side of again, it's a montage within a montage when you really think about it. You really do. Where Kim's doing all this pro bono.
Oh my God, you're right. It is a montage within a montage. Jesus Christ, I didn't.
So while Jimmy's in a new location, like he's not the doghouse anymore. Jimmy's in a new location because he's probably sold all he can to the people in that spot right now. So he's moving on. Jimmy's in a new location with Huell selling to criminals, most likely dealers in cars. Again, hence the whole like he's counting the money when we get to the window. Very much like all of those cars are most likely dealers. Kim's doing this pro bono PD work. One of my favorite images of the episode is Jimmy and Huell eating sandwiches in the van in the rain.
Yes. I'm glad you bring that up.
It's this little friendly image. It's so nice and humble, Just like it's raining out. It's like there's have this little solace.
I'm pretty sure this is the most Huell we get in any Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. So it's enjoy it, folks.
I believe so. Yes. So then it's like Labor Days. We have some more phone catches, like tossing the phones and catching them. And Kim, she's pleading with Bill Oakley. Remember Jimmy's old kind of a plea deal pal. They're having separate dinners. Again, they're not doing that little cutesy wine crossover anymore. Now they're having completely separate dinners. And then here's my big married life moment right here. The big moment where I have like a gasp, like where it's we have this big PPD reveal where it says January 2004, where I knew time was passing, but oh my God, a year.
Yeah, 2004. Yeah, I agree.
Yes, yes, that's how we. Yes. We linger so much in the Albuquerque verse. That's how you do it, buddy. That's how you do it. So a year's
I mean, it's
basically
not quite as mind blowing as the as the cold open of oh god damn
episode 5.
yeah, episode 5.
Sure, I'll
You know,
give you that, but still, it's pretty big though.
it is. It is.
So a year to roughly 9 months have passed since the start of season 4. 9 months because of the plot reason we established later on. So again, it can't be 10 months; it has to be 9 months. So uh, basically, a year for us, a year has passed. For them, 9 months has passed, getting us to a point later on. And let's see. So Jimmy, we see this great image, this great one of those. I love how this image is constructed. On one side, we have Kim with like the Schweiker and Coakley box in her office, all to one side. And on the flip side, we have Jimmy alone, like at the counter, eating a cereal, like which is most likely his dinner because it looks like a late night, and feeding the fish. And again, the fish is a symbol of his criminality, of his relationship with the vet.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I love that it's in the same because like both boxes, like both cube shaped things or rectangular shaped things are in the same position of each other. It's like a perfectly constructed shot of like representing what these two are all about right now. Yeah.
And as they pointed out in the Insider podcast, this must have been like it was a feat of scheduling and location workarounds to get all this to get all this shot. It was essentially just like, hey, we're in the Schweiker and Copley building. Let's get this shot really quick.
And then we have following that again that's a perfect shot, and then we ended on a sad shot. Here's kind of the sad married life of it all right here, where we have them both. They're in bed together. So again, they're visually, folks. I'm not even exaggerating here. They're in the same bed with each other, but they're like rolled again, like they're both kind of in bed with each other in regards as a relationship, but they're still like tossed to they're no longer like mingling with each other. No, like her legs not like overlapping on his side. She's completely turned on the other side. He's on the one side, and like her side fades to black, and just Jimmy is alone in bed. Like in the relationship, essentially, is like they're in each other's lives, but they're just the love's kind of out of the relationship.
Yeah,
that's the cold open.
Yeah, I think it was probably one of the most vulnerable I've seen Bob Odenkirk play.
I know, and I love. Oh my god, it was so well. I've been rewatching, re-listening to the song all throughout the week because I love that opening so much. Great. Oh god. So I think that's worth the price of admission alone. Like, oh my god, that opening just it accomplished so much. It kind of showed like the tragedy of the season in an opening. So again, 7 did not disappoint from that point onward. So okay, so we have the POV shot. Take us through it.
Yeah, so Saul is welcoming in a mystery person. You made it. Come on in. And I love how we see the angle of the the first person like handheld camera as Jimmy's going through, like, okay, like over here is the cozy waiting area. You got to have the lobby with the friendly receptionist, water cooler, electric kettleman,
and tease.
Oh god! Oh my god! Yes.
He's just rubbing dirt in the wound with Hamlin here. He's preparing the little tea stand and everything.
We're 4 blocks from the courthouse, so very convenient.
Of course, we have the smelly bathroom gag,
and I love how we break the illusion of the camera for a moment. Did you notice that?
Yeah, because it's a oneer. The whole thing's a oneer until that point. And then, of course, we have this little an improv that there are cherry blossoms outside. And he says, "Hey, look, cherry blossoms."
Lots of natural light, that's great. So what do you think?
And we have this really great bit, too, that comes back in a really sad way for Jimmy. So I have to highlight it here, where he basically measures the floor space by like counting his footsteps.
Yep.
6 steps. So he counts 6 steps to the wall, and remember that's going to come back.
Dragon, only Better Call Saul can you have people measuring footsteps be such a dramatic and heartbreaking thing.
It is, and it is so heartbreaking, right?
But it's so, like, it's just like that's the beauty of Better Call Saul. That's what we love about it, is that it's like this show takes these small, mundane little, like, things that you wouldn't even think about in your everyday life and just amplifies them to Shakespearean drama.
Yep, and I mean, again, Tiki, like a modern show, again, if you didn't have the credibility of the creators of Breaking Bad, you wouldn't be able to like pitch this to a network and say, then he counts the footsteps. You're gonna think, okay, that's the most pretentious, stupid thing I've ever heard of. Why are we measuring footsteps? Get out of my office. But again, it's these guys. They built it up. They built up the chips, and they've just proven their merit time and time again on this show. My God. So yes, he's asking this mystery person, "What do you think?" And then we reveal
Yo.
Huell, not Huell Hauser, the other one. He is named after Huell Hauser, though. A little fun fact. So,
and Huell's just like, so no more cell phones.
You know what's funny? Actually, I saw a side by side of Huell here and Huell in Breaking Bad. And
oh, I know, it's crazy.
I know. Again, it fits so well though, retroactively, because again, the actor has lost weight, but again, it works so well because he has lost weight. He'd be thinner in the past, and of course, he's larger in Breaking Bad years later. So it kind of works out.
Like, realize, like, the dark implication is that Saul is dragging him down, man.
True. Well, again, remember, is this when we get to the Saul Goodman years, he's just sitting around mostly. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, Saul is like, much in the same way that a certain other character is going to prevent someone's progress.
Yep.
All right. So speaking of that other character, Dragon.
Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy! I'm sorry, just real quick. I want to. One thing I want to break down with Jimmy's location here is that so Jimmy is trying to win Kim back to his side because he had that line last episode where he said, 10 months a lot can happen. So Jimmy this whole time, and this makes the montage even sadder. You realize that Jimmy essentially he's planning on like at the end of his 10 months, he'll have like a Wexler McGill at the ready to bring Kim back to his side so he can pick up where they left off. And again, he was hoping that he might be able to change Kim's mind, but time has just kind of slipped him by and she's moved so far and he's just been kind of statically kind of doing the same thing over and over again. And again, the cell phones were to pay for this location, to kind of pay for Wexler McGill, but unfortunately, it still doesn't seem enough because Huell says, it'd be nice, a glass high rise, 40th floor.
When I'm not on my boat.
Exactly. So Jimmy's a little bummed out here, and Jimmy's like really trepidatious that maybe I won't be able to win Kim back with this. I don't know. Okay, that's it. Speaking of hesitating progress.
Yes. So, Dragon, I love the way that the Hector thing is just done via a time jump. I think this is one of the most effective uses of the time jump.
And again, we really did accomplish something with Hector here, and of course later. But we rise the tide of all ships with this time jump in so many ways, especially with the Mike story. But we'll get there. Yes, Hector is awake, folks, because last time we had that dramatic thing of like, can he hear Gus? We see that zoom in on the hand.
Yeah, and I remember that was one of my proudest Better Call Saul podcasty moments when I pointed out, like, hey, remember, like they very much stressed, talk to him, and he'll be conscious and it'll help him along.
And the doctor who said that was Dr. Bruckner, who's come back. And I got to tell you, again, we really we had technical difficulty that one episode we were talking about Dr. Bruckner. So what do you think about Dr. Bruckner?
I think she's a really good presence on the show, and she represents kind of like the, the loss of innocence in Hector Salamanca's life. Not that Hector Salamanca deserves innocence.
It's like the one person that's treating him nicely.
Exactly.
And he doesn't care. So Dr. Bruckner, she's showing him these pictures. What she's essentially doing is just trying to test like his response time and kind of seeing how the brain's healing. So she starts him off with colors. And basically, and this is a wonderful setup here. I'm sure you caught this. Obviously, it caught it's great. We're setting up the bell where he can tap yes and like
of course.
Not tap for no, which of course the not tap for no is indicative of the bell. I was like, yeah. So that's a little bell foreshadow right there. And his responses are good. They're testing the brain function. He can register colors. He can register emotions. And basically, as she's testing out the rest of this, and the nurse walks in with his food, and they're like, hey, put it down for an order. We'll be ready in a few minutes. Hector is familiar with this nurse, and he likes this nurse, to say the least. He knocks the water over, and she bends down to clean it up, and he's just Hector sounds like such a dirtbag. just watching this poor nurse clean it up for his own amusement, and of course.
But this is great because this is Mark Magoulas in full-on Breaking Bad mode now.
Yes, and of course, like you always had the read-in on those moments with the intensity and the hatred behind the eyes, despite being able not to do that much. And we kind of do moments like this, and I love how this comes back. By the way, where again, it's Hector's.
Oh God, yes.
He's being kind of cruel, and two, he's just objectifying this poor nurse. It's kind of twofold, but it's just, again, it's a signature of that's Hector Salamanca, and you, the audience, are putting this together, and of course later on another character does.
Mm-hmm.
Really worth it. So then, so again, it's like, hey Hector, are you with me? Are you with me? Of course he's back. He's okay. Let's talk about Paris. So then, speaking of locations,
Beautiful segue, Dragon.
yes, we have Kim.
Yes. So Jimmy's asking, like, they're going to a company party, and Jimmy's asking who he should talk to, who he shouldn't talk to, and Kim's just like, just talk to anyone, just be yourself.
Now, remember, for Kim Wexler, such a shut-in character, and Kim Wexler, she's very quiet about her personal life. She's very just kind of direct, like nose to the grindstone type. This is kind of big for her, like, introducing coworkers to her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this is a very vulnerable state in their relationship that I guess she's kind of in denial of, really. Later on, we see she's absolutely in denial that things are bad in their relationship. She's like, oh, yeah, he's my boyfriend, right?
God.
Yeah. So she's taking him to this function, and basically you get a sense that something bad's coming.
Oh, yeah.
So just to kind of summarize it just a smidge here. So Jimmy, he's mingling at the party and kind of doing, he's laying on the charm, kind of the classic McGill charms.
Yeah, first it's going quite well,
Yeah.
My favorite line is, oh, hey, Ron, gotta say, I'm obsessed with that tie.
A great line, I know. I love the bit where he's like, we have this great bit where he grabs the hors d'oeuvre tray really slyly and smoothly, and he basically is giving one for Viola, and Lewis, you get two because you skipped lunch.
Lewis skipped lunch to work, everyone.
I know, it's great. It's just such a Bob Odenkirk is so charismatic, he's just so magnanimous. Like, this guy can you want him to plan every party in a way, like he's the perfect host for a party.
I have some theories about that particular thing, so maybe put that in the back pocket.
Okay.
Jimmy McGill, expert party planner.
Yes.
That'll come back, folks.
So Jimmy, basically while Kim's mingling herself, Jimmy, and here's the heartbreaking bit of it all for your folks. So Jimmy's exploring Kim's office. Again, folks, the symbol, as you can see before you right here, the symbol of her success and his dream being lived by Kim without him. He wanders into her office to kind of check things out. And he sees the life that Kim has built for herself instead of Wexler McGill, kind of the big partner track, kind of the law offices of his dreams. That again, remember, folks, he's been planning this ever since season 1. He's wanted Wexler McGill ever since season 1. To make it all relative here, Tiki, ever since episode 7 of season 1, because the end of that episode was the failure of Wexler McGill because he wanted to buy that giant office with the Kettleman money, and he had to return it. And of course, they had that scene where he kicks the door and he's so emotionally devastated at the end of that episode. So. Basically, Jimmy sees that he's lost his hope that maybe he could change her mind within 10 months, and then we have this bit where he counts the steps, and instead of 6 steps, it's 10. Sorry, I know it seems so minor, folks, just he counts the steps, and it's
those extra 4 steps hurt so bad, Dragon. They hurt so bad.
It's a pride thing, though. It's that pride thing of like, again, the best Jimmy could do is basically buy a house and kind of sell it as like a house turned office, which you've seen those a million times. Where it's like it's the humble office, which is not to sneeze at there, but still you want like an office, and also he sees all of Kim's Mesa Verde branch awards, and again, it's like, oh man, she's got so many, look at all the work that she's doing, how in deep she is. And then we have this bit. This is what kills me on a rewatch, because I was able to read it more on a rewatch. Kim has this, and this is sweet here, and I love what this says ethically about Saul Goodman. Kim has a framed letter from Diane Pender, and basically Diane Pender is one of the pro bono cases. Again, people she has in charge for legal for PD work. And it's basically, we just see Kim is the absolute opposite of Saul Goodman. And I wonder if Jimmy registers some of that there, of like, she's helping people as a lawyer and in PD work, not doing it for like money and just kind of like being the best lawyer, just doing it for selflessly. It's like, she's too good for me. I think it's kind of what he's thinking in that moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, look how we're on such opposite tracks. Like, even business wise, if I can get it off the ground ethically, like she's, I don't know if I can make it work like we could before. So then Jimmy's at a bar, and we have these great insert shots throughout the episode. Like one at the bar, and later on with the coin machine, with the vending machine. and like Jimmy's at the bar, and like these giant ice cubes fall in the, fall in the glass. Um, so what's happening here, Tiki?
They're the people at the party are discussing the company retreat, and specifically Jimmy zeroes in on Schweikart, Rich
So
Schweikart.
we got to talk about Schweikart here because you brought this up last episode, and I feel you definitely got an answer to your question here. Where one, I like that we see the divide. Like there's a group over there, Kim with Schweikart and the rest of the guys, and Jimmy alone at the bar, and then he's kind of ushered in to come over to the group. And the previous encounter Jimmy's had with Schweikart was very much kind of a class lawyer thing. Where again, personally, they don't hate each other, but Schweikart kind of rubs it in Jimmy's face that, oh yes, you wrote your documentation on toilet paper because you're a desperate lawyer. And that's really the last interaction they had, short of like that little handshake at the funeral, like, "Hey, I'm sorry about your brother," that whole thing.
Right, right.
And Schweiger's not a bad guy, but what we showed this whole scene here is that there's absolutely a class divide, and that really fuels Jimmy's inferiority complex after seeing basically this guy stole his dream with Kim, and he's very jealous of Schweikart in this scene. That fuels what he does in this scene. So it takes it.
All right, so basically Jimmy's kind of proposing more and more elaborate places.
Schweikart wants to splurge on like a big company retreat, like any like team building retreat, and it evolves to kind of ski. Like, let's do a ski trip, and basically Jimmy keeps one upping him with ski.
Well, you know where the best skiing is? Telluride.
Of course, how are we going to get the Telluride?
Well, I mean, if you're up for adventure, well, you know, it could be part of. I'm sorry. God damn it! I'm trying to read the. Well, you rent a party bus, Dragon. You rent a party bus, and you stick on the sound of music onto the TVs, and everybody sings along. And next thing you know, it you're there.
What do you wear?
Well, you know, you got to wear the matching company ponchos.
Parkas.
I'm sorry, ponchos.
Ponchos aren't really going to do well skiing.
You're right. Matching company parkas.
Yeah.
And you know, so 2 words: client development. They see you all out there cutting the powder in your matching Schweikart and Coakley parkas. Well, you're gonna get an impression, and you will thank me later.
So far, Jimmy's he's doing gangbusters. He's impressing again. He's making nice with Schweikart. Everything's going great here. It's part of the conversation. He's kind of won the day. But again, as we've been seeing all throughout the season, especially episode 2, Jimmy keeps having these moments where he kind of gauges the room and he takes a gamble. He pushes past the point. You know, he kind of pushes past the he kind of pushes past the line here where it's like, you know what, I could quit and go home, but I'm gonna like double down on what I'm doing here. And then he kind of takes it into that, he feels that jealousy and kind of rubs like, hey, Schweikart, you make a lot of money, don't you? You could do this. And that's essentially kind of the undercurrent of what he says.
You know where you want to go? Aspen. Aspen is like Telluride on steroids. You've got shopping, you've got restaurants and spas, and talk about client development. It's like a billionaire's playground.
It's a 9 hour. You get 9 hours. Jimmy has a 9 hour bus ride. Yeah.
Oh
true.
yeah, you're right. You're right. 9 hours. That's a long ride to be sitting on a bus. Yes, it is, Jimmy. But what's that I hear? I'm a private charter jet, and I'm very busy right now transporting 56 distinguished attorneys to their amazing destination. Aspen, here we come.
So he's drawing a crowd with this, and the idea is like there's a lot. He's putting pressure on Rich here to like, hey, maybe go for the company jet, huh? And he's like thinking about splurging a little. He's not thinking about doing the whole company jet thing. So he's putting him in a really tense position, which of course leads to like a cut to a very tense car ride home.
Well, that was something. Yup.
And then Jimmy puts on the music, and that music's like the nail in the coffin of the relationship. It's like, oh. I think it's like it's rubbing dirt in the wound of like, oh man, this relationship, it's so sad to see it fall, and now it's just getting infected.
And of course, I feel like that's one of the namesakes, something stupid in the episode.
Absolutely, Tiggs. We should track that. I think that's the first one of the episode. We have a number of them here. So again, obviously there's the song, but aside from the song, we have these mistakes and miscalculations that are made for the most part out of love or good intentions. as the motivation. Again, for the most part, not every case, especially when we'll get the Hector Salamanca thing but all there. But yes, that's one of the big first stupid decisions of the episode where Jimmy he pushes past the brink and he embarrasses. Basically, he puts Kim in an uncomfortable position again, out of again doing something stupid.
Uh,
All right. So, is that Burl Ives I hear? Yes, so we take advantage of the time jump yet again with the Majesty of Burl Ives music, where we see Mike and the gang.
and
We can't go any further without saying that we love Mike.
we love you, Michael.
We love you, Michael.
We love you, Michael.
Michael,
All right.
you're a good man. Yes, so not only not only do we love Michael, we love Jonathan Banks. We love them both. We love them both to pieces, and we can't get enough of him. Jonathan Banks, he's an exquisite actor. Again, he's an actor's actor. Not only that, we love every iteration, every kind of layer that he adds to the Mike Ehrmantraut character, which we get some really great layers to Mike this episode. We get to see we got to see a lot of sides of Mike we never have seen before in the Albuquerque-verse, I thought. I was really impressed, but I think he gave a really kind of good, like, he's always, Jonathan Banks, I think he once said, Mike is one of the greatest characters he's played, and that he's always finding things about Mike. And I think that's how he kind of plays the character, discovering things about Mike. That's that's the best performance he'll ever give in his career, his own words.
Uh-huh.
I think I'm paraphrasing a little with that, but essentially that's kind of what he's been saying. And I feel this episode kind of gets to the heart of what he's been doing with that performance. And as we've said, folks, we like to kind of explore, we like to visually earmark in the season where we are on our Mike Love. So as you can see before us, kind of a little tableau of Mike Love here with Jonathan Banks with cake. But behind that, in front of that, are these various images from the previous episodes, all something thematically pulled from the episode.
Yeah. All right, so with this montage set to the tune of the Big Rock Candy Mountain, which, by the way, Dragon, one of my favorite songs, we see just the day-to-day grind of the German workers not seeing sunlight at all, going directly into the truck, into the laundry. I love the long, drawn-out hallway of plastic that they have to go through just to get to the staircase of the super lab.
Again, I love how they're utilizing their time here, Tiki, and I just love how we see the mundanities of all. How it would basically get a sense of what the Germans are feeling here. Like, okay, day to day, go from point A to point B, do this monotonously for months and months, because roughly 8 to 9 months have passed in this job. Roughly 8 to 9 months have passed in a job that was expected to be between 6 and 10 months. Like, like Werner expected 6 months, and Mike has expected 10. So he knew this was coming. The rest of them did not, and the rest of them think they were going to be done in 6 months. So again, they're going way over right now. So they're all pretty antsy, and with the exception of Werner, I think they're all pretty antsy and kind of cagey right now. And I love the fact I just love the functionality of it. They're on the laundry truck that brings them into the laundry itself. It's kind of clever.
Yeah.
Yes. So we enter the big set.
Yeah, so the meth lab under construction, Dragon.
I kind of nicknamed it the big Stage 1 Super Lab. I call it Stage 1 Super Lab. What do you think?
Fair enough. I can go with it. I can learn to love it.
If you have something better, by all means. I'm just saying, like, if we had to call it something, I just figured.
I kind of went with the construction zone myself.
That's okay. Well, the construction zone. Points are in the construction zone of the super lab. That will then again. I love that we're in a space that they went underground. They went through the grate and everything down the hatch, very literally. And it's so great. It's so cool to see that again. It's the same space that we were so familiar with on the super lab. But it's like there's none of the finer kind of trimmings of the super lab are there. You see all these red pillars that communicate the red floor we're going to have later on, and the catwalks that they walk down, just like the super lab. And that's that's great. And I like that. Well, fun fact, this is done very close to the location of the actual super lab. It's not the same location, but it's like a set built where the other one is, close to where the other one is.
All right, so we have a big Dragon. As soon as I saw the dish being prepared in the frying pan, I knew I knew we were getting some good guest stuff.
So I forgot about this, but apparently every time Fring's preparing this dish, it is the same dish. So he's never preparing a
Yep.
different dish.
Yep.
It's the Palia Marina. It's basically like something from the sea. I think it's what it translates to. Like
Uh-huh.
it's clam. I think it's clams. It's either clams or oysters from the sea. Gotta be
Pretty sure it's
clams.
clams.
Yeah, because it looks like clams, right?
Yeah.
So Fring is preparing a signature Chile. It's a signature Chilean dish, and again, this Chilean dish is basically kind of a rite of passage of trust with Gus Fring. He only invites people to his house that he trusts and wants to build a relationship with, and he's done that with Walt, with Jesse, and with Dr. Bruckner here.
Uh-huh.
So he's basically she's giving him updates on Hector's condition. He's went from like he was at a 30 and now he's at a 22. Basically, closer to the zero you get, the better you are from in terms of recovery. So he's at a 22. But the big question that Fring wants to know
Is it the same man deep down inside? Is it the same Hector Salamanca that we all know and love?
and I love this, by the way. I love that when she's basically giving him some news, like, well, I can't say for certain. He has like this knife in his hand, like, oh god, it's just like
It's almost a philosophical question at this point.
yes.
What I can tell you is that he's making incremental improvements almost every day. I think if you see the evidence, you'll be very, very encouraged. And here we go, Dragon. Here we go. Very much we get into Detective Gus Fring, if you will.
Yes. So what he does here is we have this. She shows him the tape of the scene that we just saw. And I love how it's like we saw the scene entirely play out, so we're not missing anything. A little bit of the tape. And by the way, the way this is framed, I don't know if you got this. They frame this just like a scene from Breaking Bad season 5, where like confession, or when Jesse Pinkman's giving his own confession. You basically have all the confession scenes that are played on TVs. Played on from the videotapes to the TVs.
Sure, sure.
Feels very indicative of that. Anyway, so he's watching the tape of Hector like performing well, and then of course he knocks over the water, and I love that Fring caught this. This is such a perfect moment for Gus Fring here, where he sees like he knocks over the water, and then he notices it, and he begins to smile, and he rewinds the tape, and he pauses it, and he can recognize that Hector Salamanca, because again he's eyeballing the bent down nurse, and it's like it's such a beautiful moment that Giancarlo Esposito plays here, where he plays like, that's him, that's that SOB I hate so much, that's that womanizing SOB. Because again, we saw like how he acted in that brief flashback in Breaking Bad, where he was like he was a scumbag and everything. He's beyond one. I say he always did like kind of stuff like that. It's like, oh yes, that's him. He's back, and that's all Gus needs to know. He needs to know that the guy who's suffering right now knows where he is and who's done this to him. That's all he needs to know. So he pauses. He congratulates the doctor on the progress, but basically congratulates her and asks her, "How's the progress on the wing of the hospital that I funded?" Basically, he's funded a wing of the hospital, hence her reason for being there. And he thanks her for her time and tells her, you can stop treatment. You should get back to your other work.
And this, of course, is kind of, not the thing that the doctor wants to hear, considering all the progress. But Gus insists. Gus is like, no, I've kept you from your work long enough.
Perhaps we should temper our expectations.
Yes, right.
It's basically what and I love this. Tika, this is like one of those great things you can do in a prequel show, that it's done right. This thing we always love to talk up in Better Call Saul. It's like there's a prequel show done right, where we know exactly where Hector Salamanca ends up. We know what happens with this guy. We know what kind of state he's in at the start of Breaking Bad. We know that. But what we do here is we have this great little layer that you don't need, but it adds so much great resonance to it, where he could have gotten better, but Gus stopped it.
Yep.
Where he basically,
it's pretty chilling.
The doctor says he could have walked and possibly spoken if they continued treatment. And Gus does two things. Again, what he's doing here, one is for his revenge, that he wants him to be just aware enough but helpless enough. So basically, he's in a position that he's this perfect amount of helplessness that delights Gus Fring. And on the other side of it, from a business side of things, he can't risk Hector Salamanca back in control and giving orders. If he can speak, he's in trouble, because he could give away like what happened and kind of give away the whole Nacho Varga, but all like bad things could happen. So the point is, like, Gus is making this choice from a personal place and a business place. But I love that, again, tying into the episode title, the doctor views this initially as, again, a very polite way of putting it in her case, but what actually it is it's something stupid. Like, this is a sense that, unless you're in the know, this is a move that doesn't make any sense. It's a stupid move. You're doing something stupid here. You want to heal this man, but you're not gonna. And I'm told you can heal him, but you're not going to do that because you want me to get back to work after you've invested so much time and money.
Right.
So again, something stupid, but again, but quite the opposite. So I love that.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Back to Warner.
Okay, back to Werner. Oh, Michael, I'm glad you could join me for my happy hour.
A little early. We need to see the other something stupid here.
Oh, sorry. Right. My bad.
Werner is telling Mike that they're almost ready to pour the walls. Basically, what they have is a concrete foundation, which means they have the bottom of the wall built up. So they have that built up. All they need to do is like pour the concrete to basically build up a wall. And once they build up the walls, that basically is the essentially all the hard construction work's done. Essentially, then the rest of it's kind of like your landscape and like putting in the linoleum and such. Basically, it gets easier after the big like sledgehammer work, if you will. So they're getting ready to pour down the concrete, but before they can do that, they need one more blast so they can basically make room for the elevator, which we've seen Walt snuck in through the laundry basket of the elevator. Like, had to get the dead bodies out. That basically the whole elevator shaft of the super lab needs to be constructed, and Mike's a little concerned about this. Like, how big a hop are we talking? We need this? Yeah, we need it for the elevator. So as Mike's discussing like how they're going to go about that, and by the way, that's some big setup for the future episodes. By the way, they need one more explosion. Remember that.
Right.
One more demolition. So then my guy here, Stefan Kapasek.
Yes.
He Casper, his character name's Casper. So Casper is in this front loader, and he does the other namesake something stupid of the episode. He does a stupid mistake. Again, it's an innocent mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. So I don't want to judge the character too harshly because the guy seems like a nice guy, by the way. I'm not trying to factor in my own like experience of meeting the guy there. I'm just saying seriously, his character seems like he could have fought the other guy. Well, let's get into it first. So he's on this front loader and he accidentally knocks a beam over. He knocks one of the beams over, and the big damage is less the fact that the beam fell over, is more the fact that when the beam fell over, it took out the concrete wall that they just finished, so they can basically get the job almost done. So he knocks it over, and it takes out the wall, like the foundation for the wall. Kai snaps at him because, again, he was about to blow the wall. And like, oh, yeah, we're about to be done here, man. He snaps at poor Casper. He instigates a fight, and he's like, hey, you're not the big boss here. And, of course, he's going to going towards Casper. They're all getting into like a little tissy fit. And he's saying like, hey, you've extended the length of this job. I don't know about you. I want to go home. So you understand why they're fed up here, but he's
it's definite cabin fever for sure. And then we get an epic Mike Ehrmantraut moment, Dragon.
Yes. So Mike has this bit where in German again time has passed, and I love how we're using it here, Tiki. Time has passed, and Mike has picked up a little bit of German, most likely from Werner, but he's picked up some German. Like, boys, call it. So that's where we are. Also, now we're past all the fringing Mike stuff for the moment. We should probably switch back to it.
Okay, cool.
So far, we haven't done anything like unbefitting so far, so I think we're good. So,
all right.
Saul is selling 3 phones. We set up. He goes back to the van. He's looking his reflection, and by the way, a little comb over setup because his hair is kind of blown over. It's kind of filling with his hair for a second there. It looks very comb over-esque. So in the reflection, he also spies an undercover cop, and I love that Saul instantly can spot an undercover cop quick.
Mm-hmm.
He put it together really fast. So this cop is. I'm sorry, you want to take us through this scene?
Yeah, the cop and Dragon. I also kind of called that this was going to be bad news. I was very worried about this.
Yeah, you were right.
All right, so the cop is just like, "Is this you, Saul Goodman?" Holding up the card. Jimmy's just like, "That's right, police. That's right, officer. What can I do you for?" Long story short, Dragon, basically, the card was found on a guy who skipped bail, and the cop is asking nicely for Jimmy to move his business elsewhere. Maybe go to another district. I'm sure there's some nice soccer moms who could use your phones.
Well, initially, this cop, he's just trying to get him to stop selling the phones, and Jimmy's saying, look, I got a permit for these. Basically, he's using all the legal loopholes. Jimmy used a lot of legal loopholes to basically secure selling burner phones as a legitimate business, which is impressive.
Uh-huh.
And Essentially, this guy's like, okay, fine, sell if you're basically what my customers do with the phones are not my business. He's basically fine. Why don't you sell some soccer moms at a grocery store or something? So so there's a lot of judgment, but Jimmy has not violated any law, so it's all pretty legit. And then basically and this is a real cop thing, by the way. I don't mean this in a negative. I'm just saying it's a legitimate thing. Where a lot of times you're gonna have a guy who you know is breaking the rules, and what'll happen is you kind of find him, you get him on a smaller infraction. And Jimmy knows this move, being a lawyer, so he says, "Okay, we're going this way. Yeah, we're going this way." And Jimmy's like saying, "What are you gonna do? Busted tail light? You know, what's like with the parking?" So as they're starting to get into an argument here. And
Uh-huh.
uh, and Jimmy he then goes too far here. Jimmy goes too far again. Now this is Jimmy's something stupid of the episode here. Where Jimmy pushes the guy unnecessarily. Where Jimmy says, "You know what? Maybe this is maybe we need privacy for this sort of thing. Maybe you're the problem." And Jimmy's just unnecessarily he's coaxed this guy right now. And then the cop gets into his face, and it's very important. The cop he's looking Jimmy in the face. So if you were behind him, you wouldn't see the guy. You wouldn't see the guy from the front.
Yes, yes, yes.
So as long as you make a buck, the world can go in the crapper. Because essentially what Jimmy's saying here is quite horrible. Here again, it's as a Saul Goodman thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like for Jimmy McGill, it's like saying like, "Hey, cops are useless if they're stopping me from selling my phones here." You know, it's like, "Hey, let all the drug dealers and the criminals run wild." So the cop's really offended by this. He's getting in Jimmy's face, and as this happens,
Oh
Huell
man.
returns with
Poor Huell,
sandwiches.
man. Poor Huell. Yeah, he's got the sandwiches. The
Yep.
Fitzgilligan sandwiches, Dragon.
Yes. God, yes. He's got Vince Gilligan sandwiches, and he's got these headphones on, and his
And he's like
headphones are
just happy-go-lucky listening to his
the
tunes.
big Mamu.
Oh god.
So Tiki, I don't know if you were like me when I was watching this. When I was watching it was like because I knew where this was going. I was like,
Oh yeah, of course I knew where it was going. I was like, oh god, no, 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 no.
I I was like an idiot watching this because like wave my arms like a no fly zone. They're like,
I know, I
Phil,
know.
don't do it. No, no. And basically, I was saying what you were saying. He's a cop, you. He's a cop. Then of course, because again, so Huell's getting there, and basically what happens is Huell he takes the. You can see, I love you can see Jimmy like shouting to him, but Huell can't hear him over the music. He's saying he's a cop, don't do it. Like, he's trying to wave him off, and Huell's not seeing it. And Huell basically the reason Huell does is that he's doing his job here, and it's like he's been looking for some action. Huell's basically most likely been doing nothing on the job here except getting sandwiches and lifting phones with Jimmy.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, okay, I can finally do something right now. I can do something cool right now, and something that the actor Lavelle Crawford, he actually had an interview with this episode. He actually had a really interesting insight that I wanted to mention here. He actually flirted the idea that Huell he kind of likes Jimmy. Like they're not besties by any stretch, but there is kind of like a little brother protective instinct with Jimmy McGill as part of his job here. Like, there might be a friendship there. Again, he's only going by what's on the script page, is what he's seen. But I think there is a bit of like, it's kind of older brother, little brother kind of protecting the guy being accosted right now. Again, part of the job, but also maybe a bit of a bond growing. And they've been having sandwiches together in the car. He's bringing him into the law offices, asking his opinion. I don't think it's out of the realm possibility.
No, I don't either. I don't think. I think the bigger question is there going to be like a falling out between Jimmy and Huell before Breaking Bad, like, or are they working together the whole time? Like, because Huell came in like pretty late into Breaking Bad, like season 4, right?
That is true. That he basically
So that's kind of my question is like, like like what's going to be that divide? Because I think now the two are pretty thick as thieves.
And of course, something happens to Huell, and we don't know if that's going to take or not. So anyway, what happens is Huell, awesome. It's so ridiculous, but it's so fun. He kind of pulls a Gilligan move. Like if Vince Gilligan was ever in a street fight, I think he'd pull this move. Vince, I mean that I do not mean that in an insulting way. I mean this would be an awesome thing. I just love to see Vince Gilligan's always joking that he eats sandwiches. Basically, he's always when he directs, he's basically the guy. He's very self-deprecating. He's always on the set like he's the guy. Not with a viewfinder, but with a sandwich or a hot dog or with a donut. He's always the guy eating on set, just kind of watching everybody do the work. So basically, Huell with this bag of sandwiches, and there's also a couple cans of soda in there. So again, there's a little bit of heft in that bag. He hits the cop from behind and knocks him on the ground. He's not fatally wounded, or he's not wounded in a big way or anything. He's just knocked to the ground.
Yeah.
And, take the headphones off. He's a cop. What are you
He's a
doing?
cop. Come on.
So obviously Huell is in a big pickle, and I don't mean a deli pickle. He's in a pickle, folks.
Oh man. Oh man.
So we cut back from commercial. What happens?
Huell's in the back seat of the police car,
Never a good sign.
and Jimmy is just trying to plead his case. He's like, "Look, he didn't he didn't know you were a cop. You were in plain clothes. It was I hired him for protection." The cop is like, "Oh yeah, well I picked him up 3 years ago on a pickpocketing charge."
And
Yeah.
that's really bad news. That's really not good.
uh
So this basically spells out Huell's doom, essentially, of like the same cop from 3 years ago. Like, what are the odds, really? And like, folks, again, they justify coincidence here in such a great way of like, sometimes you get the wrong end of the stick in life, and this is how you express it. It doesn't feel like that. Does it feel contrived at all to you?
No, not really.
That's the thing. This could easily be contrived. I just want to highlight that because that could easily be like, oh, he happens to be a guy just arrested him 3 years ago.
I mean, to me, it just kind of, it's just nice character development on Huell's part, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
it's nice to see it. It's nice to see that it looks like the build up to the season finale is going to be very Huell centric. Dragon, I'm excited for that.
So Jimmy tries to apologize. Says, "Look, I'll never sell my phones here. I won't sell my phones. I'm going to get out of here." And he's basically asking as a favor. And of course, the cop previously had asked Jimmy as a favor just to get lost. They wouldn't have to get into the whole thing with him. And so basically, the cop says, basically Jimmy has burned his bridge here, which means it's a no go. And poor Huell is he's kind of carted away.
Mm-hmm.
So, meanwhile, we're in the recreation area of the giant hangar with the two trailers, and basically the big kind of R&R area for the Germans.
Yeah, we got some pinball going on, kind of symbolizing the cabin fever, I would think, Dragon.
Yes, and also this bit kind of made me sad here because at least I read it this way. Bear in mind, I do like the actor, obviously, but Casper, Stefan Kapsik, he's sitting in the recliner in like the lazy boy. And you can see, I read it as he's so sad that he botched the job. And now everybody's gonna have to stay there. You can see all these empty beer bottles and beer cans and everything.
Uh-huh.
The guy he's kind of a sad drunk tonight, and he's just kind of sleeping in the lazy boy chair because he feels so guilty about what he's done. That was my read on it. I don't know. What about you? Did you get that?
You know what? It kind of went by so slowly that I didn't really notice it was him. I gotta say, I'm sorry, but I've already said that if I was in that situation, I'd personally choose the lazy boys to sleep on as a strategy.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Want to risk being beaten by oranges at night? All right. So yes. Okay. What happens next?
so this is where we get the happy hour thing, right? Yeah.
Happy hour.
Happy hour. It's Michael Ehrmantraut. All right.
Were you trying an Oscar Schindler gag?
Yes, I was. Sorry.
Just to give a second of context here, folks. We love the opening in Schindler's List where it's like, that's Oscar Schindler. You have a funny delivery in that movie. Anyway, keep going.
Yes. So Werner is essentially spelling out the cabin fever of it all and saying look, these guys need a little bit of they need fresh air. They need or he's also kind of talking about the nap time concept in kindergarten. Oh God, I'm not going to try and say it, Dragon. I'm sorry.
Just to keep it simple here, Mike, we have this. We again, with the time that has passed, we show that Werner's been teaching Mike a little bit of German. Again, for the practical reasons of you can talk to the Germans yourself instead of having a translator, and we see them probably been doing this over recurring happy hours and just kind of hanging out with each other over time. Mike does have a respect for Werner, and that kind of goes both ways. He's the only one that calls him Michael in all the ABQ-Verse. It's really nice, and there's a little friendship here. I think it's so cute that he's been teaching them German, and I love that he's being really nice about it. And then a guy like Kai comes over, he mocks Mike's German, because again, Mike's he's learning as he's just been said here. So again, it's no one's fluent in German in a minute. Okay, so the Kai's being really harsh on Mike here, saying only old fools like you take naps. But I love that Mike stares him in the face and then he whispers like because he's a little afraid of Mike, and I love that like the little pissant, the little guy. So Ermin, and we have this really. I meant to look into this, but I'm not sure. Ermentrout. We get a translation from Werner here. That Ermentrout's a two-part word in German. Like the Ermentrout in German translates to world and stronger, which of course speaks to Mike being worldly and of course being strong, having a strong character about him. So
yeah, yeah,
nice.
cool.
All right.
Okay,
So he goes over the damage.
Yeah. So basically, it's just it's going to require a lot more time, essentially.
Yes, because you have to have like a new concrete form built, basically a new foundation for the wall, and they have to straighten that rebarb that came down. And Werner, I love this bit where Werner is willing to accept the blame. Like, I understand this is an imposition. I will explain it to Mr. Fring personally if it comes to it, by all means. Mike says, don't you worry about Mr. Fring. Mr. Fring only cares about you guys getting it done. You getting it done right. I love that.
Uh-huh.
So Mike questions, and again, Mike can look into problem solve here. Mike's asking, what would happen if we sent Kai back to Germany? And we learned it's
that would be a no-go because Kai is their number one demolitions expert, which is the big reason why Dragon, as you so eloquently foreshadowed earlier, big plot point that they have one more explosion that they got to do, Dragon.
Yes. And it says the other boys again. Basically, Warner's going to bat for his boys. You're saying when they're working, they're good, but you understand they're kind of cooped up here. And it says, yes, they're boys exactly. We need men for this job. Well, yes, but would you rather you and I, old men, do this job? We need boys for this job. Can't just be you and me. So,
I mean, not even those two. Like, could you picture Jimmy and Hamlin trying to do this job together?
I think that would be a hilarious comedy.
It would. It really would. But I'm just saying they wouldn't be effective at it.
No, yeah, you need again, you need like big men. You need like Huell, like basically a legion of Huells, maybe a legion of Huells, maybe.
Oh God.
Let's imagine a legions of Lavelle Crawfords and Man Mountains.
All right.
A few Man Mountains in there is going to balance it out a little. Like definitely, like maybe 20 Man Mountains could get it done easy. Okay, anyway, so we do establish they're not halfway done. They're not halfway done, and you can't keep them locked away forever. And they need R&R outside. Mike understands. Like Mike's not. He says R&R. I get it. And we have this beautiful bit where they toast each other. It says roast. Uh-huh. Okay, so back at the courthouse.
Okay, let's see. Sorry, let me get caught up in my notes here. Okay, yeah, so Huell is basically looking at 2.5 years according to the sentencing, or according to the what
his PD, his public defender got it. Basically, the best that his court-appointed lawyer could get him is 2.5 years, and Huell wants to, based on this, he wants to skip bail because he can't go to jail, and this worries Jimmy, obviously. And now Tiki, I don't know if I hope you caught this because it was life. If I'm lucky, I'm going to blow your mind like you blew my mind about the Hector Salamanca hand. I don't think I'm going to be that lucky. I'm going to give it a shot here. I love, and I'm now realizing it's very obvious. I'm just going to deflate all hopes right now. I'm just going to go through it. So we have this bit here where Jimmy warns him of how dangerous it is to have a bench warrant and basically the fugitive life. And how you're driving down one day, like 3 years from now, you're driving, you have like a broken tail light, and you're caught, and you have like a guy who hit a cop and then ran away. And it says, and basically Jimmy says to Huell says, then I won't get a broken tail light. And Jimmy warns him that sooner or later it'll catch up with you. So I feel this is a big Gene foreshadow.
I could see that.
That was my catch. Like, yeah, that's a big
I got to admit, I wasn't really thinking Gene in the moment, but yeah, now that you bring it up, it's definitely possible. It all ties together. This series is like would-be literature, as we keep saying.
Yeah, and Huell citing. What about DB Cooper? I just love that gag. If anyone watches Prison Break, you're gonna find that joke even more funny. But yeah, more people need to watch Prison Break, the original one, not the little reboot they did last year. Don't watch the original anyway. So Jimmy's asking for a shot at it and promises, and this is important. He promises Huell he will not do jail time. Huell as long as Huell does not skip bail. As long as he doesn't skip, as long as he doesn't run away, you'll get him out of jail. So we have this great cut here, where it says like, "You're not even a lawyer. I don't need to be a lawyer. I'm magic,
I'm a
man.
magic man."
Little faith." We cut to, and this is hilarious. This is pointed out to me. I knew this was something was kind of cool about this, but I didn't know why it was so funny. And I on the Insider Podcast kind of explained like, yeah, that is brilliant. We cut from, hey, I'm going to take care of this, cut to he's at Schweikert and Copeland. I like that cut. I love the gag behind the cut here that he's running to his girlfriend for help.
Uh-huh.
It's a great cut. He's on the bench and like, hey, now he's at Schweikert and Copeland.
And it also kind of, again, shows the divide in their relationship where at this point he has to have an appointment with her, essentially.
Essentially, yes. And then we have, oh boy, this to me was a crushing, sad scene in the episode for me. I don't know how you felt about it. This scene really got me. Like, I felt this is where I felt like the pain of the relationship. You're like, oh, all throughout the scene here.
Well, I mean, the great thing is that there's no stereotypical like Skylar White, like you're a terrible person. Instead, it's all very silent. It's all very held in. And we know that confrontation is coming, Dragon. I mean, I have a feeling the big Jimmy Kim confrontation is going to happen episode 9, just because, episode 9's, how it goes with those.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just love how these scenes aren't showing two people like, at odds with each other as much as they're showing how two people react in different ways and in very toxic kind of ways.
Let's see, breaking it down here. So Jimmy's going to Kim asking for help, basically telling her about the whole situation, and then we have this heartbreaking bit that kick things off where Kim, basically she finds out this way that Jimmy's been selling phones to Saul Goodman. You've been selling burner phones to... So again, you've been selling burner phones to criminals, and you just see, and that that hurts, man. That's so sad. So yeah, then it gets
just, like I said, it dwells on it, man. It doesn't we don't have any sort of resolution to it. It's just stating the fact.
Because here's the bit that really made me sick, and that was already sad. Here's the thing that just kind of keeps plunging me into the darkness here, where it's just like Jimmy without, and this shows you that, okay, less Jimmy McGill, more Saul Goodman as each episode progresses here. Jimmy without hesitation following that. He basically plays kind of a slipping, he plots a slipping Jimmy Con, or more accurately, kind of a Saul Goodman. It's either a slipping Jimmy Con or most befittingly a Saul Goodman move. To save Huell, which again we've seen him pull these types of moves all over Breaking Bad, but again it's kind of fusing kind of like what we've seen before. Now where we're going. So anyway, he basically plans like a move to save Huell here, which is something that Saul Goodman would do all the time in Breaking Bad, where he's going to use the cop's DUI from 8 years ago and his record of being angry on the job, his anger issues on the job, to get him smelling like a distillery and getting angry in court. He already has like a plan of like, I know just how to do it. And it's like, Jimmy's throwing a lot at Kim right after the whole bombshell of like, hey, yeah, I've been selling phones. And again, like, she knows he's working at the phone store. She doesn't know all of this.
Mm-hmm.
He's throwing a lot at her here. And then again, like without hesitation, without being apologetic, without like taking a beat to kind of try to win Kim back, he's just moving with it. He's rolling with the punches here. He's just, okay, here's the next thing. When we do a big risky con that could risk your career, by the way. All of this, and then we have Ray Seahorn again. Tiki, if it's not silence, it's hesitation. Ray Seahorn plays hesitation so good in this scene right here. We have this bit, and again, your heart goes. Now we've been on Jimmy's side here. Now it goes to Kim's side here, where it's like, oh my god, where Kim is shocked and just heartbroken. She gives this look to Jimmy, and then she's stammering and just kind of peace. Again, a lot has been thrown at her, like. She's just trying to get her bearings after she's been so shocked and just heartbroken by Jimmy just now. And she's thinking about like, oh my God, again, like what's in her head probably like, oh my God, what has happened to him? How did we get to this point?
Uh-huh.
And she kind of gets to the point where she's going to take the case, but on her own, in her own way, which means, as she says at this point, she's not going to defame a cop. She's not going to take down a cop, which kind of limits her options a little bit. Jimmy thanks her and he appreciates it. And again, I think that's a genuine thing where Jimmy is legitimately thanking her there. Thank you, Kim. I really appreciate it. and then a beat goes by, and this is where the heartbreak sets in on the other side of things. So you felt sympathy for Kim, now you feel
Oh my
sympathy
god, yeah,
here.
yeah.
Or she just a beat goes by, and usually Kim would say something like, "Oh, you don't have to thank me, Jimmy. It's fine." In this case, we just have a beat goes by, and she just says point blankly, "Okay." And Tiki, it's so simple,
It's
just
like
with
the death of a relationship, Dragon. I've
it
been in that
is.
exact same receiving spot. I
It,
really have.
we saw the death in the previous episode. This is the funeral of the relationship. That's the funeral line right there. This is the funeral of Slip and Kimmy, where it's the couple. They're a couple, but the love's gone. That's what that line. Tiki, in one line, we convey all of that in one line. We convey that whole montage in one line. They're a couple, but the love's gone.
Uh-huh.
So then we have a Godfather homage here, where Jimmy he's going out the door, and she asks Viola, "Hey Viola, close the door, would you?" Close the door. It's like a reverse angle of the Godfather thing, where we focus on the one side who has the door closed in their face, like Jimmy's not welcome on the stretch. So following that big scene here, and this is a gutsy scene for Kim. Kim mixes up with ADA Suzanne Erickson, basically the big ADA. You've seen her before, Tig. This is the ADA that Mike and Jimmy talked to when Mike had to take the gun charge for Salamanca.
Uh-huh.
So we've seen her before. I like that we brought her back. And of course, we kind of have like the big legal authority. Like she's the highest, short of a judge. She's the highest legal authority we've seen in the ABQ-Verse. Yeah. So we have this great quarter bribe shot here, where like she has like the giant. We have this like these coins.
I'm sorry, Dragon. Hold on. My energy's kind of waning, so I'm gonna grab an emergency coffee to get through this last couple scenes. Okay, so
Okay.
just fire it up, and I'll be right back. All right.
Speaking of coffee, we have this bit here where I believe she's getting coffee or something from the vending machine. I'm pretty sure it's coffee, and we have this great, lovely insert of these of this coin. Basically, the coins being put through the slide. She's short one, then Kim gives her a coin. Says, "Oh, this gives her a quarter. This is a bribe. It's a sad bribe." So it's kind of cutesy there. And again, we've seen these sorts of scenes with Jimmy and Oakley before, like pleading with a DA, pleading with like an ADA or somebody. And we know how this scene usually goes, but this DA is like a no nonsense. Like this one takes the big criminal cases here. She takes the big deals. And so they're going to a courtroom. She has 2 minutes, and she wants to basically talk about the Babineau case. So she's talking about the Babineau case. And basically, Kim is trying to plead down a misdemeanor. I love in this season, we saw a direct scene of Kim succeeding so well with a plea deal with Oakley. And now we're seeing the complete uphill battle of a plea deal with Erickson here. So she wants a misdemeanor, and arguing the point that he couldn't recognize that there's no way he could have recognized the cop from behind. It's been years. Basically, arguing all the points that Jimmy tried to argue. Now, Kim, she's citing case law she's done before because she's saying, look, you could do a misdemeanor on on a first time offender, but Huell's he's a repeat offender. And then she's citing all the case laws. And again, we've been setting this up this season that Kim is an expert of case laws. We've been doing it ever since the beginning. So Kim's citing all these case laws, like other times where you've done this with other repeat offenders. And again, like, hey, throwing her record in her face here, like, hey, you did it with him and with him and with him. And Kim just making the big point to her face here. And this is kind of an insulting thing to say to a lawyer. This is unequal justice. Basically, I like to kind of phrase it like it's unequal justice with a bag of sandwiches.
Oh God! All right,
because Kim points out it's like with a bag of you hit him with a bag, knocked him down with a bag of sandwiches. It's not really compared to the other cases that she said, like guys headbutting cops and taking them out and everything.
And of course, the only card that she has to play is he's a repeat offender.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Tiki, it's always the kiss of death. Whenever anything happens against a cop, that's always the kiss of death in a legal case. So this is like the highest hill you could be up, short of killing or shooting somebody in regards to a case like that. This is the hardest. This is the biggest hill you could be. I guess this is the biggest civil case you could be up against with a cop, I guess. I mean, it's an assault charge, but still it's a minimum assault charge, but still pretty concrete. So it's Kim's has her work cut out for here. So then we have the biggest, most cutting line of the whole thing, Tiki.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me see if I can get to it.
In regards to the only witness you have.
and their only witness is a scumbag, disbarred lawyer who peddles drop phones to criminals.
And that, I get it. I wrote my notes here. That hurts. That really does hurt, man.
And I think it's the first time that Kim is hearing this side of Jimmy from someone else. She's getting another perspective, and yeah, Dragon, it does hurt. It absolutely does. It's kind of a knife in our throats in a way.
I think that's the wound that'll bleed out till the end of the season, Tiki. I think that's what's going to build to episode 9, where she just can't take it anymore. Like, this is the beginning of that, where this is the point where she's faced with something here. She's in kind of her legal space here, and it's like she's confronted with the fact that, hey, the love of your life is, he's an ambulance chasing bad lawyer. He's gone bad. You got to face that. What are you going to do? And again, Kim doesn't necessarily give a clear-cut answer to what she's going to do with that, because you can see she's affected and she's definitely mulling that over. But she says she still is on Jimmy's side at the end of the scene, saying you don't know the whole story, and she leaves.
Yeah, but that's a reluctant you don't know the whole story.
Yes, because that pause, Tiki again, Ray Seahorn, she gets a pause Emmy. I don't care if I don't care if it's an Emmy and like melted down the shape of like a pause logo, like a pause symbol.
I love it. I love it.
Ray Seahorn has earned the pause Emmy.
Vaguely like the YouTube Golden Play Award.
Essentially, yes. It's just kind of with a pause button instead of the play button, yeah.
Oh man, that's adorable.
Okay. Maybe it's not like a giant Emmy. Maybe it's like a little moderate. It's like a little moderate. Yes. Okay.
All right.
So, on the outside, so Kim's walking on the outside here. Where's it go?
Okay, so Kim breaks the news to Jimmy that he's not going to get Huell off. Huell can't run. He's going to have to put on his big boy pants and go to jail, at least for a little while.
Real quick, by the way, I love that while she's walking to Jimmy, and it's a really well shot thing here. As she's walking to Jimmy, she's on the phone with Huell, and we have this little. It's something you catch on a rewatch, Tiki, where she's talking to Huell and says, "Mr. Babineau," and then it says, "Okay, Huell." Basically, Huell's like on the phone, told her, "Just call me Huell." It's like being all nice.
Huell.
Yeah. So so she's told Jimmy the bad news, and like that's all she can do. And then they're heading to the car, and Jimmy's saying, "Well, thanks for trying, Kim. If that's the only legit way to do this, it's the only legit way to do this." And then they have this bit where he says, "Yeah, sure, you do your thing, I'll do my thing." That scares Kim so.
Oh, what do you mean by that, Mister?
See, ordinarily we'd see this sort of thing play out in any other show, but here it's like, no. What did you just say? Like, no.
Huell's out. And Dragon, I gotta say, I don't know about you, but were you worried that Kim was going to get in another fucking car accident?
I gotta say, I didn't think it was going to happen, but I did realize that, yeah, oh boy, Kim's in a car going at high speed. Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that, but
for a minute, Dragon.
So Kim, so she's thinking about this on the way, like she's driven away. It's like, okay, chips are going to fall where they may. Slipping Jimmy's at work, and now the real question, here's the Rorschach test of it all, too. Can I save the Rorschach for the end here? The real Rorschach of it all is, why does Kim do this? Does she do this to help Jimmy, to stop slipping Jimmy at work? Does she do this because like she's trying to help him or trying to stop him from doing something worse?
Uh-huh.
So Kim turns and she heads to a store that's most likely Staples or something. It's like a station. It's like an office supply store. And she's buying, again, this is like the mystery ending here. She's buying tons and tons of art supplies. And it's not just like pens, like a pack of pens. Like she's buying like various packs of pens and colored pens. And she buys specifically, she buys markers, she buys Post-it notes, she buys pens, she buys notebooks. While she's in the checkout line, she calls Jimmy and kind of quotes Gus Fring here, saying, "Jimmy, don't. Whatever you're doing, don't. I have a better way." And that's where the episode ends.
All right, that'll get us right into speculation, Dragon. So I have a few theories scattered around here. Do you want to start with what?
Real quick, we got to talk about the promo. Tiki, there?
Kim's up. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you cut out for a second there, but we should cover the promo.
Oh, right. Cover the promo. Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay, real quick, here's some really cool cryptic. Yeah, really cryptic. Probably one of the most cryptic promos we got this season so far, I gotta say.
I just don't think it really reveals that much, but you're right. It is cryptic.
So we have Jimmy on a bus. Warner and Mike are at a bar on the outside. Let's see. Nacho, this is an important one. Here's the most important shot here for all the speculation. Nacho has a poker chip. Kevin Wachtel's coming back with an impossible favor to ask him. Let's see. We have there's a mystery guy in El Michoacan, the taco place where Nacho and Tuco did all their business. So there's a mystery guy in there behind the grill. Let's see. Jimmy reassures Kim, like, don't worry, no one's going to know about it, which sounds very ominous. Mike is warning somebody. We don't know who is warning somebody. Most likely Kai, but I don't know. He's warning someone if something goes wrong. Basically warning, like, oh, you better hope something doesn't go wrong. And then there's a strip club. We see a strip club. The rest is just pretty fast editing and cryptic. All right, spec, Tiki, what you got? Hello? Hello? Sorry, folks. I think I'm having a problem here. I think it's me. 1 second, looking at solutions. Tiki, you take them through it if. All right, folks. Sorry, I think I'm on. I'm not entirely certain here. We're going to find out in a moment here. But let me see. The next episode is called Koshata. Now, Koshata. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, we're good. You can hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We're all good here, folks. Sorry about that. I was kind of meandering. Thought I was the problem there, but I think we're all good now.
No, you weren't the problem at all, Dragon. My computer was kind of on the laggy side.
Well, sorry about that, folks. And okay, real quick, spec ticket. What you got?
Okay, so I think that what Kim's up to start off with is I think Kim is going to start a PR kind of like social justice warrior type situation with Huell, kind of like I think all the art supplies are going to basically be for a free Huell campaign, essentially.
A good idea. I didn't think of that. I like that. Yeah, I think whatever Kim's working on, it's a scare tactic,
What was your... Oh, God damn it, really?
No, you're still here, Tig. You're still here. What did I think it was?
Yeah, what do you think Kim's up to with the art supplies?
I gotta be honest, I'm really at a loss for. I mean, the only thing I think whatever she's doing, it's a scare tactic with the art supplies, and I think in giving that scare tactic a name, I think you probably have the best idea there. I'm in favor of your idea because that's all. Unless she's like teaching like a grade school class right now. I have no idea
what she's doing is she's like weaponizing her PD work.
That has and Tiki would make sense if she's doing that because we had that thing earlier on where she got the letter from her pro bono clients. So that would make sense. I'm really in favor of your idea there. So whatever she is, she's going to use this as a scare tech to help Huell out. But again, it's a question of if she's going to be able to do that without him going to jail at all. Which, of course, Jimmy's on a bus, which suggests that maybe he's tracking down a Huell who skipped town. So I don't know.
Okay, I have a wild theory about Jimmy that's like probably 90% not true. All right.
Okay.
Are you ready? I don't think you're ready. No, you're not ready.
All right, I'm not ready. What do you got?
Okay. Mike recruits Jimmy to be the party planner for the Germans.
Oh, God.
It's never going to happen, but can you imagine how, like, A, that would be a really fun plot, and B, it would legitimately be a way to get him into the Underworld storyline.
Yeah, it would be hilarious. I got to tell you, I think in the next season, let me say this broadly with Mike. I think at some point in the show, maybe this season with the blasting going wrong, maybe, I don't know. I think at some point what's going to happen is Mike is going to have a near-death experience where someone's going to get close to killing him. And I think he's going to have Jimmy do a will. Now we're going to set up the whole like how basically once we do the bank thing, once we set up the whole the bank system with Anita, because remember he needs to patch things up with Anita to have a whole you have the bank thing set up for like where all his hazard pay goes. And I think we're gonna have like a close call that's gonna get him thinking about that, and then we're gonna have that beautiful scene where Jimmy is like, he tells Jimmy about Kaylee, and I think that's gonna be a beautiful moment. That might be in season 5. I don't know. It might get started here, but I think it's gonna happen in season 5.
Okay.
Okay, big thing. Here's my big theory here. So the next episode is called Coshata, and I did some research on this. Coshata is the name of essentially of a Native American casino. Now, there's an actual location that's purely called Coshata. I don't know if it's the same casino because I don't know how many branches of this casino.
You're thinking it's going to be the retreat that they take the Germans to.
No, actually. Here's the thing. I mentioned this in the promo here. So Nacho had a poker chip. Now I think that poker chip's from that casino. I think Nacho is going to be working a con with somebody.
Okay.
I think here's one or two things that's going to happen. All right. Because again, Nacho has that poker chip basically at the payment table. Like when the dealers come in, they pay him, they give him the money and everything.
Right.
So I think Nacho, again, he's for all intents and purposes, Nacho's in charge of the Salamanca crew right now. Because Salamanca, he's the cousins went down the border. It's he's basically deferring to Gus, but he's kind of running the place. So he's either a dealer is paying with profits that he gambled away, and basically I'm saying a dealer gambled and he basically brought payment in the form of poker chips from Coshata, and Nacho has to cash in those chips at Coshata. Or, most likely, a dealer comes in with like a proposition for Nacho of like, hey, let's do something with this casino. It's like do basically some sort of plan to get a payday from the casino.
I don't know, Dragon. To me, I'm still going to stick with my theory of that's where they're going to take the Germans.
Okay, well, here's the thing. That's not a bad idea, Tiki. But I mean, here's the thing. It's not a bad idea. I'm just again that poker chip's just driving me nuts. I gotta be frank. That poker chip's like that's an obvious like Nacho and poker chip and the Coshata is the name of the casino.
All right.
So that's just me connecting dots there. I mean, your thing could work too. But I know they're going to a bar. It's the question where that bar is. That's the thing. We know they're in a bar next episode.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. So again, with the whole casino thing, whether they're actually it's gonna be like how deep we're getting into the whole casino thing. At the very least, I think thematically, next episode's gonna be all about gambles. Kim's plan's gonna be a major gamble. I think Mike going up against Kai, and there's the whole Mike going up against Kai, and more so Mike taking the guys in public to a bar, which again goes against what Gus Fring wanted, is going to be the big gamble for him. And of course, the upcoming blast, I think, is going to be a gamble too, because I think him and Kai, and I think Kai's going to screw him over somehow with the blast, and things are going to go wrong. And that could be Mike's near-death experience if there is going to be one. I don't know.
Dragon, I think the big question is, I almost feel like it's a little bit too conventional to just kill Kai. So what if they came up with a way where instead of killing Kai Werner or someone that Mike really trusts gets killed in the crossfires of that?
Oh my God, that would be so tragic. It's such a better idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be, and that might
Breaking Bad and Vince Gilligan versus speculation is you got to be thinking like it's not a.
Hello. All right. Okay, let's see. What else? I think it's about it. And of course, it's Nacho with this business venture. If there is one with Koshata, that'll be another gamble. Regularly, I think they're going to visit the strip club that Jesse Pinkman frequented in Breaking Bad. I think that's the strip club we're going to next episode. Which again, maybe the Germans are at the strip club and the bar there and everything. Let's see. Lastly, oh, I'm sorry, we already went over that. So yes, on the whole, that's the speculation. I think Tiki's on the money with. I think if Mike might have a near death experience, but through the guise of Werner dying. I think Tiki's right on the money with that. I think it's great. He has a friendship with Werner that we've kind of seen explored. That guy dies, and that gets Mike thinking. Maybe we explore that down the line. I don't know. Little pet project, little pet theory there. Okay. Well, Well, before we call our lawyer, I guess I'll tell you what. I'm going to start us off with our final thoughts here. Okay. Okay. Here's my final thoughts on the episode, folks. My final thoughts on the episode are: I love this episode. I think it comes across a little incomplete at the end. The whole like we don't know exactly what Kim's planning with the art supplies, and it comes across like a little incomplete. But I want to cite that we've done that before in like season 2 of Breaking Bad, or episode 8 of Break. We kind of mixed like episode 7 with an episode 8. Traditionally, episode 8, specifically season 2, it ended on like Mike preparing the spike strip, preparing for Nailed. And if that didn't pay off, that was going to be a big problem. But then it paid off in the following episode. So I have faith in the show. So I'm not bothered by the ending like I would have been way back in season 2. So I think it had like all the merits of of an episode 7 that opening has you. And again, I think we have these great sad moments between Jimmy and Kim. So that's all great. Again, the opening is amazing. The storytelling, it's like a storytelling of a higher form, the closest they're going to get to a married life, and I love it. It's very strong thematically with all the something stupids that are done. Like Kim kind of does something stupid in regards to her career, kind of going up against the ADA like that. Again, so I love kind of the tragedy portion of the season. It's heartbreakingly brilliant, really. That's kind of what all of this is. The season's very heartbreakingly brilliant. We're definitely in that phase of the season. 7 onwards, definitely, I think, going to be really kind of we're getting to the big parts of the season coming up there.
All right, clearly my computer hates me right now, so let's just make a phone call and call it a night. All right.
Okay, we'll do the phone call, then you share your final thoughts, and then we're good to go.
My final thoughts. I literally, I'm worried that my computer is in such a bad spot. Like, I like the episode. It wasn't my favorite episode of the season, but it was a good episode 7. It really lived up to the montages and everything like that. It wasn't exactly fun to watch. And I am kind of missing Nacho in the storyline, so I'm looking forward to next episode. But it was very good. It was very good all around. Not quite as good. I don't think it was quite as solid as the last 3 episodes have been, because the last 3 episodes have been really kind of a roller coaster ride. But it was a really good time jump. It was a very efficient time jump for the show.
Okay, let's call our lawyer.
All right, give me 1 sec. Okay.
All right, 505.
All right.
842.
All right.
5662.
Okay.
And I'm not here right now, but you've got an itch, so here's the pitch. The man's not helping you, so stop helping the man. Want to stay unknown? I've got your phone. I'm hustling down on 3rd Street, so drop by for your supply. Need to call? Buy from Saul.
That's great.
New Dragon.
Yes.
It was new.
Oh my god. Okay, that's
awesome.
Yes, I haven't heard that.
We did that like going in, like knowing it there might be a possibility that it was still the same one, but we didn't know it might be changed, and they changed it. Oh, happy day.
I had a feeling it was going to be changed, but I had not listened to it, so I just got my live reaction of it. They're like, "Oh my god, it's so great!" Okay, so take it here. Remember, kids, when you get that phone call, make it count. Better Call Saul. Saul Goodman and Associates is the one-stop shop for all your legal needs.
And with that, we are adjourned.
We can totally be lawyers.
Totally.
Need a call? Buy from Saul.
So we're not doing the cell phones.